ADCs still have 0 tools for agency, 0 tools for self-peel, 0 people playing them in solo queue, while the role is literally dependent on others people playing for them. Lane and game are completely dictated by your support. There's so much damage from everywhere, it's literally impossible to play and get your damage off. And what's Riot's solution? Let's add more damage, me clever balance team. I had a nightmare. It was a scary experience and it had me in hot sweats, but I never woke up because it was in fact a reality. Let me tell you about this nightmare. The ADC item buffs are in just 2 days, and my nightmare was, as a former ADC player, to go back, practice, warm up. I haven't played in a while. Let's get ready for these ADC buffs where I can go back and enjoy the role. And then the nightmare hit. The buffs are unironically going to make the role and game worse, just in every aspect, because they aren't solving any of the real issues ADCs have, and they're just buffing more damage to the game, because that's the solution to everything. I think all that's going to happen is ADC will be stronger, but still feel bad, and bot lane will be so OP that every other role is just going to feel worse. It's just a net negative for the game. I don't know what to tell you. And please, feel free, disagree with me in the comments, or agree with me. Be like, yeah, I think this is right, or call me an idiot. Honestly, I'm genuinely interested in getting people talking about it. I need to clear my bias. I don't main ADC because as soon as you're an ADC main and say there's a problem, you just get instantly dismissed. But I did used to play ADC, and honestly now playing mid and top, when I see an ADC, it is the freest kill in the world. It's like a walking minion. It's a beautiful 300 juicy gold minion, and I love to CS it. So now I've defended the bias, let's get into the details. The gameplay's terrible, but just try and visualize my point. Don't get me wrong, could have avoided these situations, but it's more that when you're playing things right, the Malphite can still ult you. Anyway, so Nunu, while AP Nunu has built Liandry's, which is not a burst mage item, and Storm Surge, but the Storm Surge bit is relevant because he one-shots me. And not just me, but he one-shots Yone as well, who is a level up and 500 more HP than me. And his Storm Surge didn't even proc, so that Nunu had over 500 damage spare on me, plus a Storm Surge proc ready to go. So with that extra damage, we're talking Nunu with Liandry's one-shot me and had 700 plus damage to spare. Not even Ludens or something bursty. It's mind-blowing. Malphite again, I was laning versus the Ashe after we took Herald. Malphite swapped, I should have backed off, but again, ignore it. My point is, should a tank Malphite literally just kill me because he's built Malignance and now he's going to go full tank and he will continue to do this damage to me throughout the game? Honestly, enlighten me, let me know. Speaking of one-shots, how about you one-shot that subscribe button? That's the smoothest I've ever asked for it, so you owe it to me to subscribe now. But yeah, Riot are you know what? ADCs do suck. It's awful to play. Everyone complains about it. No one wants to play it. Let's buff it. Let's fix the role. Let's find a solution for ADC. What would you guys like? And I'm like, well, I'd like better defensives, a chance not to get blown up, maybe different champs. I don't feel like tanks should have the ability to pretty much one-shot you. I don't mind if a Zed or Kali Fizz, that's their job, that's what they build for, doing it, but I'm not sure if a Nunu with a Liandry should have 700 damage spare to literally one-shot me. And right, you know what? You're right, they do need buffs, but you're thinking about this wrong. Imagine if instead of survivability and quality of life, you had more damage, more attack speed. How good's that going to feel? But the freak, the Malphite is still going to ult me and basically one-shot me. He's like, yeah, but think of, what about if ADCs could one-shot the Malphite back? Their just solution is constantly let's just add more damage, more damage, more damage. And what's funny about this is the ADC is actually going to feel worse for it, because when you're behind, the other ADC is now going to be doing even more damage to you, and you are the role that has the weakest ability to take damage, so it makes it even more unplayable. Sure, that 1% of the high highs where you 1v9 a game might happen, but there's just more damage to dodge that you can't dodge. So unironically, ADCs are going to have an even worse time surviving, as now the other ADC is going to kill them even faster. You can't make this up, can you? And now one of my biggest hates, and this is Freak doesn't deserve all the hate, but this one he absolutely does. A while ago they buffed Bloodthirster and Shield Bow, and ADCs bought them just constantly. They did need a nerf, but it was if there's a good defensive item out there, the ADCs are jumping on it. They're desperate for a bit of survivability. And what did they do? They didn't just nerf it. No. They gutted it. Let's go through them now, actually.
Despite AD carry players saying, generally speaking, the plurality of bot laners said, I dislike my role, the reason my role is frustrating is because I get one shot by enemy champions and I can't self-peel. And I was like, okay, y'all can opt in to buying defensive items if you don't want to get one shot. And they didn't. Overheal's pick rate did not move unless you were Aphelios because he prints lifesteal out of his Q. Shieldbow's pick rate didn't really move very much. Even Bloodthirster's pick rate, which was incredibly buffed, didn't move very much because AD carry players just don't actually want to do this. They don't actually want to do this kind of stuff. And the same is true for mages as well. They're not buying Banshees and Zonias.
Right, so let's just see if Freak is speaking absolute bullshit in the most condescending way possible. If he was a League of Champion, would be his ultimate ability. Riot August himself has said, League players are so slow. I can't remember what champ it was, but he changed it, maybe Darius, I'm not sure, from Stridebreaker to Trinity Force, and there was a 2% increase, on the recommended items on your building screen. 2% increase because just people don't know what to build. So he's talking about 13.6, but I want to draw you to on Shield Bow. It used to give 800 shield. The loss of damage was worse, the 800 shield. They reduced attack damage by 5 that never came back. And then apparently nobody was building it in 13.6, so they had to nerf it. I don't get it. It used to give a 800 shield, then it's a 630 shield plus your mythic bonus, and now it's a 500 shield. Like, they literally made it worse, which apparently if no one was building it, it was such a bad item, there's no reason to nerf it. Bloodthirster is even better because, okay, let's go down. So you used to have a shield of 350 and 20% lifesteal. Could you imagine 20% lifesteal now as an ADC? It would feel incredible. 13.6 nerfed the shield. Just a lot worse, but still a shield. And then apparently it's just so bad. Do you know what they did in 13.10? Remove the shield. It's not even a defensive item anymore. There aren't any defensive items for ADC. Shield bow sucks. GA sucks. Okay, you come back to life, but the team fight's over if you're dead. Like, oh... And again, so they just remove the shield. It's not a defensive item anymore, it's an extra damage. It just gives more AD. It's the exact same buffs they're doing this patch where they've removed the defensive optimization and just been like, have some more damage. That'll solve everything that's ADC. It's ridiculous. And the fact they nerfed Overheal as well. The fact he stood on that camera and like blatantly lied to ADCs and everybody and spoke as if everyone was an idiot. Just rubs me the wrong way, and I feel like he deserves every ounce of hate he does. Riot August does the exact same thing, but he does it in a pretty decent way. He does it on stream as well, which is way more toxic because it's like live interaction. He doesn't get half the hate because it's so much more genuine. I'm not saying Freak doesn't care about the game. I think he does, but I think the way he talks to people is just disgrace. And let's not forget, the man was a caster. He knows how to articulate himself. Like, give me a fucking break. My main gripe is I actually don't think ADC is weak. I feel like it's actually stuck in the past and where the game should be. I think ADC are the right power level. Every other class just needs bringing in line. Like, there's no real class identity. Like, ADCs used to be the damage dealer, Zeds and assassin, but if you can play Malphite and build one damage item and still basically one-shot an ADC, then what's the point in the Zed? Because the Malphite offers 1,000,000 times more. And let's say, okay, the Malphite doesn't one-shot me, I hear you. An ult auto and I'm at 20% HP or less. At that point, I might as well be dead. I'm out of the fight. If a Nami looks in my direction as a 20% HP ADC, I'm dead. So I didn't even realise this until someone said it the other day, but just every tank item has damage. Look at this, right? It's blew my mind. Dead Man's Plate, passive, does damage. Sunfire Aegis, passive, does damage. Fawn Mail, passive, does damage. Do you know who this especially ruins? ADCs. Ever tried to kill a Rammus? It's impossible. Unending Despair. Oh, gets 400 health, 55 armor. That's a great tank item. Oh, 138 magic damage to nearby champions. Incredible. Hardsteel. Oh, damage. This is with no stacks. I do 410 physical damage with an auto. Iceborne Gauntlet. Oh, it's got a Sheen passive. What does that do? Oh, it does more damage and slows. Like, even the tank items, every single one of them has a damage passive. Like, what are we doing here? Going to carry on now about ADC, and just to make my point, this isn't an anti-tank mode, it's that every class does damage. The whole point of an ADC is they offer damage, and when everyone else offers damage and the ADC is the one that offers literally nothing else and has the weakest ability to take damage, it's just a useless role. I get the point. You can argue that like over 20 seconds the ADC is going to do way more damage than the Malphite, and I'm like, yeah, but who's getting that damage off? Because the Malphite ult is getting that damage off. Am I getting 20 seconds of auto-attacking time without being killed in solo queue? I don't think so. The champs just offer nothing. Like, let's for example compare one to another role. Azir, I'd argue he's about as close to an ADC as it gets in other roles, and what does he have apart from the massive auto attacking damage and late game teamfight carrying? His ult is a massive self-peel ability for survivability and can also be used to make insane playmaking things, something another ADC just doesn't have. He's got a shield, an ability to dash a super long distance and over walls with the dash, and can itemize into Zhonya's fairly easily. And as a solo laner, he's going to be 2 to 4 levels up, so inherently tankier compared to Aphelios, Twitch, Jinx. And he's going to match all these for damage late game, and this isn't an Azir issue, it just highlights like how tough and limited ADCs are when another champ in another role can do exactly what they do, but so much more at the same time. I think the main gripe is supports need nerfing, they're too strong. They also have all the agency in the lane, and if they ruin lane, I think this is the worst part, they can ruin your lane, but because they aren't just dependent on gold, they can go and have a great game after lane, and the ADC is just ruined. They cannot do anything. The support can roam, leave the ADC to 1v2, just zoned off minions, starved, and as a completely gold reliant role, they're never coming back to it. And I've got the perfect example for you, just to illustrate how support dictated the lane and even the game is. It's actually, watching this back, it blew my mind. I didn't think it was this bad. So Lux ruins the lane, nothing I can do about it. It happens. She gets hit by literally every Nautilus hook going. Pokes Nautilus, never attacks Caitlyn. It's one of those, we've all been there. I'm not even too mad about it, but at this point I'm now versus a 3-0 Caitlyn with a 0-3 Lux. I've lost all 5 tower plates in tower, and as an ADC is so gold reliant, I'm so far back, I'm never getting back into the game. And this is the worst point, because Lux does the 100% correct thing, and I didn't even moan about it. She leaves me. I never see her again, and I'm playing Aphelios with no support, no peel, 2v1, and I'm behind because of lane phase, so I can't even do any damage. And she went off, 100% right call, and had a great game. She did like over double my damage, had a great KDA, great KP, so she just ruined my lane. But as a carry support with obviously no CS because she's a support, she would have lost a load of XP because she was dead a few times. She wasn't picking up any of the minions. She goes 0-3 and then can just leave and still do a load of damage and be really helpful for the team. And obviously at this point I'm just falling further and further behind, because even if Naut leaves, the Caitlyn's got a 3-0 lead, I can't contest her. And I also, the Mordekai's a 1v9 this game. I can't expect the team to play for me. Why would they play for me? They're trying to win. There's no point being like, but if we can play for this Aphelios in 20 minutes, he'll be relevant. Like, I get no farm, no XP, no one to play for me. And the worst thing is, that's exactly how it should be if you're trying to win. Like, they did play to the win condition, but this just happens so often, is the ADC is always the one who suffers in the lane, and then the support goes and can do whatever they want and have a great time. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, this game is 32 minutes long, and from minute 1 to 32, this was ironically actually the game I got one shot by Nunu, because I was just desperate to try and get a kill, get a shutdown. But yeah, and also to highlight how strong supports are from the other side of the fence, this Lux did nothing in lane. She's 0-3, but I guarantee you, at level 6, if Caitlyn, having dodged all her abilities all lane, gets hit by one Lux Q, if that's followed up by Lux E ult and I'm there, Caitlyn's dead. That 3-0 lane means nothing. It doesn't matter that you've dodged 12 Lux Qs. You get hit by one, you're dead, and that's a skill issue as ADC. Like, it's crazy. So supports are already strong. ADCs are now going to do even more damage, and all this means is all the issues ADC has aren't getting fixed. There's just more damage in the game. Like, you are not getting peeled or supported as an ADC in solo queue, and I love that ADC is great in pro play. I love watching it, but that just doesn't happen in solo queue, and I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, but Goober can carry pro games. It's like, yeah, he's got carrier support, and his top's picking a tank, and his jungle's picking a tank, and he's got so much space to attack. He hasn't got a Zed flanking him and a Kali in top lane that's just AFK because they've tilted. Like, ADC needs seriously looking at, not damage buffs, because it just doesn't fit in solo queue anymore. ADCs still have 0 tools for agency, 0 tools for self-peel, 0 people playing them in solo queue, while the role is literally dependent on other people playing for them. Lane and game are completely dictated by your support. There's so much damage from everywhere, it's literally impossible to play and get your damage off. And what's right solution? Let's add more damage, me clever balance team. So my too long didn't read, ADC will be stronger but feel just as bad to play before. It really improves nothing, none of the ADC pain points are to be addressed. The game is just going to be pure jungle mid becoming slaves to ganking and diving bot, Top's going to be an island. And because the ADC is now just going to be the centre of attention, they're just getting dove more because they've got no tools to deal with it. Pro play will be pure ADC even more so. I don't know who wins from this. My solution, support needs nerfing. The roles overall need nerfing. Just reduce damage in the game. There's no identity to a champ, as a Garen can one rotation an ADC. What's the point in having a Zed or a Kali if a Garen can do it, like, while being tankier? I really don't get it. The damage is ridiculous. It removes so much skill from the game. My favourite part of this game used to be the longer team fights with such high stakes. Gave you chances. It feels like now if I dodge 6 abilities and one hits you, the game literally just comes up on your screen. Instead of a death cap, it just says, fuck you. Get fucked. Like, oh, you dodged 6 of the 7, buddy? Skill issue. Enjoy your trip back to the fountain. That was a super rant video. I don't want to do too many more of them. But I do find myself enjoying the current game state less than what I used to. Just adding more damage to the game aimlessly just seems so dumb. I don't really know what to say. Feel free to disagree with me. I'm genuinely interested in other perspectives. I'll see you in 2 days when the